rules. So welcome back, and I've got a really good recipe for you today when you need a special something in your kitchen. And I don't know what that special occasion is for you. It could be that your family is coming to stay. It could be that the family has come to stay and is now leaving. This could be Christmas morning, be whatever. We're gonna make homemade blueberry muffins, and these are ridiculously good. Now, I'll tell you where I got the recipe. I got it from my good friend Robert, and Robert and I have been friends for decades, and he is my soul friend. Well, we like to share books and things, and in fact, if you read my new book, Robert's got a big mention in it because I love him so much. So he texted me this recipe, and he said, honey, you got to feature this one. It's good. A lot of steps, but it's worth it. And I don't know about y'all, but sometimes if it's got too many steps, I tend to shy away. But anyway, it's worth it. Now, if you did not see the tip on prepping your muffin tin, that's on another video, so go check it out. You got to get them greased and floured up and make it like just look good so you don't leave the good part behind. You know, that's important. So what we're going to start with is our streusel topping. And the reason you got to start with this, it needs to set in the refrigerator to get right. And I have my glasses on because I have to read the ingredients. And y'all know that I tend to generally cook by feel. You don't get to do that with bacon. That's like messing with your chemistry experiment. And think about how much more fun high school would have been if we didn't have to measure anything with those Bunsen burners. You remember using Bunsen burners? I remember how horrified our chemistry teacher was the first time he let us use those. So anyway, we need a cup of flour. And unless you've been living up under a rock, you already know we only use white lily flour in this house. And the reason I'm using a 1/4 cup measure is that's what's available to me at this particular moment in time in the kitchen. I cannot find my other one, but that's all right. You probably live that way too. So we have a cup plus a tablespoon. No, not yet. This is the streusel. Okay, so 1 cup of white lily all-purpose. And if you've never cooked with white lily flour, try it one time. Then you'll know exactly why it's different. I can't explain it. There's probably some science to it. It's beyond my pay grade. And then we need a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar. Y'all know the only brand I'm using in this house is Dixie Crystals. That's how I grew up. That's what my mama used. My grandmother, well, both of my grandmothers actually were Dixie Crystals people. This goes back a long way. They've been around since 1917, so only Claire all knows how old I am. I won't tell. But you need a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar. You could use dark brown if you're needing to, but it's going to mess with the consistency because the consistency of dark and light are different. And by the way, if this stuff gets hard, just eat it like candy. It's very good. Okay, so there's a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar. We need some cinnamon. We need a 1/2 teaspoon. Frankly, I don't even really have to be measuring the streusel top, and this is not the specific stuff. I'm gonna put extra cinnamon in because I can. And then we're just gonna mix that together with a nice little fork. This is the easy part, friends. And it's gonna look pretty, and it's gonna look tasty. If you taste it, you'll be bored out of your mind because it's just flour and sugar, frankly, a little bit of cinnamon. And cinnamon's got all kinds of magical health benefits to it. So, you know, eat cinnamon, but don't do it like the young people do on YouTube where they're trying to kill each other with cinnamon. I think young people in YouTube is a deadlier combination than a bunch of 11th graders and Bunsen burners in chemistry class. But anyway, now we got it just mixed in. See, nothing fancy, just make it look pretty. This would go on cinnamon toast, by the way, minus the flour. We used to make cinnamon toast. Well, no, actually out of powdered sugar and cinnamon. But anyway, then we need 7 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Now, if you wonder why in the store some butter is salted and some is unsalted, it's because this recipe calls for unsalted. Shazam, now you know. And so we're gonna mix in that 7 tablespoons of butter, almost a stick. And see, look, y'all are thinking, what am I gonna do with that 1 tablespoon, Leigh Brown? You're gonna cook with it. Put it in the bottom of your frying pan next time you're doing some fried squash or some fried green tomatoes, or frankly, anything could use butter. All right, so once we mix that in, it's gonna make a pretty thick little set up here, and it's gonna look a little mushy, and then it's gonna start looking a little bit crumbly as it starts to set up a little bit. And you wanna make sure that all of your flour sugar combo here is in, so you don't have pockets of melted butter that do not have any dry goods in them. And you see it's gone from starting off a little bit mushy. The butter starts to harden up. Got some secret pocket down here in the bottom. Don't allow for secrets in the ma'am. You know what they say about secrets? That stripper that was on The Office, y'all remember her? And she said that secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. And so we don't want secret pockets of flour and sugar in the bottom here because they hurt people, you see. Okay, now that we have a mess and a goopy part here, I might actually put a wee tiny bit more flour in here so that it will crumble a little more instead of being like a paste. And then we'll just cut that in with our fork. There we go. Make it a little bit less paste and a little more crumble. And yes, you can see pretty quickly when you cut it in. See how it starts to gather up a little bit and break up? That's when you got, oh, I didn't show y'all correctly, see, because I need a cameraman or something, but he's gonna have to not charge because this is a zero budget operation here. Okay, so got that done. Now we're gonna set that in the refrigerator for an hour or thereabouts, or whenever we're ready to use it. You know, it's all good. So I'm gonna make sure it's broken up. Look, I should use my correct grammar. I was being fussed at the other day for being lazy with my grammar. I know Mrs. Jewett would kill me. So I'm gonna set this in the fridge so it can be nice and cool. As I hit my camera here, of course, because, you know, no budget. And my kitchen's a wreck. Ain't y'all live this way? You probably do. You're not even judging me at home. You're like, ha ha, I live that way too. All right, so that is, well, step one was your muffin pans. Step two was your streusel. So now that's in. We've got our larger bowl. I don't know where I set down my bowl. Lord, having that day today. Okay. So we need our larger bowl to make our muffin mix. Now, if you're buying the stuff from Duncan Hines and Betty Crocker, that's all well and good, but this only is a couple extra minutes, y'all, and then you can control what's in it, as in, you know, what brands you have. Now we need flour. We're gonna need 1.5 cups of our all-purpose white lily flour. So 1 and 2 makes a half. Plus we need 1 extra tablespoon of flour. I do not understand sometimes how somebody comes to this kind of an exact measurement unless they're just more specific than I am. So let's do it right. All right, there's a half plus 1. Now I need a cup. And then you're gonna need to get, well, I can't talk at the same time, I'll lose count. And I already told y'all this is science. So there's a cup and a tablespoon and a quarter and 1 more. All right then. Now, we need some baking powder and salt. And if you're thinking, well, maybe I should just use self-rising flour, you probably could. But we're following the directions today. Okay, we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I use Clabber Girl because, frankly, that's what they had at the grocery store. And I like the name, and I've been using it a long time. It seems to be good stuff. So there's 2 teaspoons of that. And then we need some salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I do refuse to measure salt because I can actually measure this without a little spoon. And a 1/4 teaspoon is going to be yay much. I practiced. I told y'all before I'm watching Justin Wilson. He was so cool, the original Cajun cook. And then we need to get that mixed up a little bit. So we're just going to stir it in. Now you're wondering why you're stirring up all these dry goods. You have to disperse that baking soda and salt though if you want the chemical reaction to happen. It's going to cause it to turn from dough into muffins. Okay, so that's why you mix it up. Now we need to put our wet ingredients together, because one of the general most important things about bacon is your wet ingredients don't get to be friends with your dry ingredients until you are good and ready, which is also a good thing to think about dating life with your teenagers. Don't let the things mix until they are good and ready. Okay. Now we need some Dixie Crystal sugar. We need 2/3 of a cup. So let's get 2/3. Oh, sheesh, I didn't measure that right. That was 1/3 of a cup measure. Okay, now we're gonna have to do math. All right, so if we used 6/3, that's a cup. I need a half again, right? Did I do that right? No, I was using the 1/4. That's correct. What did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't put enough light brown sugar in my streusel. I'm gonna have to toss some more in. Okay, we'll fix that in a second. Watch the bottom of your containers and you won't have these Leigh Brown moments. I blame the children. I used to be super smart all the time and sometimes it comes and goes. All right, anyway, back to what I was doing. 2/3 of a cup of Dixie Crystals granulated sugar. And if you're wondering why it's not in the Dixie Crystals bag, friends, you do not store your sugar in its bag when you're using granule. It needs to be in a container to keep things out that might come into your kitchen somehow. And then we need 2 large eggs. And we've got our 2 eggs here. They were sitting on the countertop where y'all couldn't even see them. They're like a little secret over here hidden in the edge. And I did that to get them to room temperature, because you want your eggs at room temperature so that your temperatures will cook correctly. I don't really know what cold eggs are going to do to it, but I imagine there's some fancy science. And I imagine one of y'all is fixing to put it in the comments here and educate me, and you will then feel like you have helped Leigh Brown, and I will appreciate it ever so much. I guess I could Google it, but I'm over Google right now because they keep restricting my search results. Have y'all noticed that? They show you what they want to show you. If you don't believe me, Google something controversial and see if they don't try and give you the other angle on it. Okay, so we got the granulated sugar and eggs, and then we're going to whisk it until they are combined and break up those yolks. Get the whites mixed in. Oh, that's so pretty. I do like a pretty yolk. Okay, now we're going to add in some sour cream. And don't judge. Just do what I'm saying, okay? This is kind of like parenting. Just do it. It'll be for your own good. Trust me on this. We need 2/3 of a cup, and I can actually do sour cream by sight too. It's kind of an interesting talent that I have. I didn't know I had, frankly, as a young person. Could I have won any scholarship being able to measure by sight? I mean, I wish I had known about it at the time, but oh well. All right, we got 2/3 of a cup of sour cream. We need 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. I'm using peanut oil because it's what I have in the kitchen. And if you didn't know the different kinds of canola versus vegetable oil versus peanut, peanuts has got a different frying temperature than the other ones. But when you're doing measurements like or ingredients and recipes like this, you won't hurt anything, friends. We need some vanilla extract. We're calling for a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I use too much because I love vanilla. And then I need some lemon juice. And I guess we could be using the real lemon in the nice little green container. But we do not need to do such things today because we have a real lemon. Dun-dun-dun. And if you do it like this, you'll get the lemon juices flowing real good. I might not have shown y'all that trick in the past. And we're going to cut this half in 2 and squeeze out our own 2 tablespoons, right? 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then we will have fresh lemon juice. If you've never cooked with fresh lemon juice, I'm telling y'all, it's a huge difference. And it only takes you like this long. See, the time I've been talking about it is, according to my timer on my video camera, less than a minute. And let's see if that's 2 tablespoons. How much juice this lemon is going to give us for the day. 1, 2. Oh, 2 perfect. Lemon, you are meant to be, friend. All right, so there's our, let's see, we get everything. Sour cream, oil, lemon juice, vanilla. Now we're going to whisk that up into our sugar and egg mixture here. And it's going to look kind of nasty because sour cream has this tendency to look kind of clabbered. Of course, I am using Clabber Girl baking powder. I guess that'd be fine, but ugh. Tastes good. I think it tastes good. This is also another reason that if you want to cook with your children, you should pick and choose what you cook with them so they don't get all grossed out and stop eating what you make. I have to tell y'all that before this cooking show, my daughter loved my banana bread. Ever since I showed y'all that mayonnaise is the secret ingredient, she won't eat my banana bread because she says she doesn't like mayonnaise. And it's just a sad, sad moment for any Southern parent to know that you have a child that won't eat Dukes, but oh well. Okay, so now we are going to mix this in with our dry ingredients. Now, pro tip, you will mix it just until it's combined. Do not over mix it. You do not need to count strokes. You do not need to do it for 2 extra minutes like on the times when you're using a hand mixer. Just whisk it in till they're combined and your chunks of dry ingredients have gone away. So let's get it nice and mixed evenly here. And then you've got one more step to make it just so magical. Look, are y'all feeling like so relaxed now? Because I will tell you that using a whisk is probably the happiest moment I can have in any given recipe. I love using the whisk. I love the results. And there we go. Just mixed in, okay? That's all you want to do. Now you need some blueberries, because if we're going to make blueberry muffins, you need blueberries. Now some of y'all might use the store-bought ones. That's fine, but right now I'm making this video in July, and if you're using store-bought in July, I really don't know what you're doing. I mean, like, you could buy it at the farmer's market. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm only really judging you severely if you're using frozen things in July. I mean, come on, for real. Or those little canned ones from Maine. If you want to use those, just be careful, because they add a whole bunch of sugar in there. So anyway, we need about and I store my blueberries in Ziploc bags, because I will buy the dickens out of these when they're in season, then I will freeze them so that I can have blueberries year round. So you need about a cup and a half of them, a little bit more, a little bit less. Do one last pass for stems, because I see that a couple of stems had snuck by me the first time. I don't know about y'all, but I got my new book. I was so aggravated because I read through it, had other people read through it, thought I had it down pat for grammar and spelling and no run-on sentences, and sure as the world, I went down to get the Audible recorded, and dagnabbit, if I didn't have several more errors, I was so mad at myself, and wasn't nothing I could do at that point. So if you order my book and I start to find mistakes, please don't circle it in red pen and send it to me, because I can't do nothing about it. All right, now, got your bowl of blueberries? Get a little bit of flour, maybe a tablespoon or so, and we're gonna toss them in this. Now, why do you do this? This is so they will float correctly in your batter, so they won't turn into a mushy mess, and you'll have some little pockets of just blueberry delight. I mean, it's legit crazy. So just kind of roll them around in there till they look like this. And then you're gonna be tempted to eat them, and you're gonna be disappointed, because blueberries coated in flour don't taste as magical as they look. They're just doing their job. Okay, now we've got them coated. We're gonna gently mix them in. Now, why are we gentle here, friends? Because if you are aggressive with your blueberries, they will bust up, and they'll still taste good, right? Because blueberry juice is good, and we love a blueberry pie. But for muffins to be their best possible, there's another stupid stem. Well, somebody was fixing to have an exciting moment, and maybe that's why I will serve these when somebody's leaving instead of when they're coming. Anyway, mix it in so that when that magical homemade moment comes, you will see the difference. This right here, this ain't coming out of a Betty Crocker or Duncan Hines box of dried mix, y'all. You got to do this by yourself at the house. Okay, now we're gonna put this in our muffin tins. Look, it's a lot of steps, right? I'm gonna have to clean my kitchen, because I got other things to make today too, but it's all right, it's worth it. See, y'all are worth it. My family is worth it. Frankly, I'm worth it. And I don't really know what cocktail goes with blueberry muffins. I have to think of something. So if you know something that goes with blueberry muffins, you should add that to the comments, because some of y'all are probably wondering right now, Leigh Brown, where is the adult beverage component of muffins? And I don't really know, so help a sister out. Now, when you're putting this into your muffin tins, if you've never made homemade things before, you do not go. Okay, so we're spooning our batter in to about the 1/2 to 2/3 mark. Frankly, if you're not getting enough batter out of this to fill all 12 muffin tins, you might be overfilling, because this is legit like just right for a 12-tin recipe. Now, after we put our 2/3 of batter in these cups, we're going to do our next step, which is putting the streusel out of the refrigerator and onto the muffins. By the way, make sure that your oven is at 400 degrees. I know you're expecting 350. That's not happening for you today, so you're going to have to break out of the mold. And so we'll be back in just a second, ready to put the streusel on the top so y'all can get the final touches ready. Okay. So if you remember from before, when I was telling y'all that I wasn't sure about my measuring because I used the wrong size for my, my streusel topping for my sugar, I tasted it, because when you're cooking in your kitchen, you can make executive decisions. And so I don't think it needed any more sugar, so it's just gonna have to be fine. So now we've got our muffin tins full. Get out your streusel and just kind of break it up with your fingers till it's nice and crumbly, and put a nice layer on the top of each muffin. Again, this is that special moment that you cannot replicate with the box mix. Next step, put it in the oven at 400 degrees for 5 minutes. Just 5. Now some of y'all are thinking, Leigh Brown, you're crazy. No, 5 is your starting point, you see. After 5 minutes, you're gonna drop your heat to 375, and then you'll cook it for 20 minutes or until the toothpick comes out clean. And as y'all know from making your own baked goods, that's what tells you if the center is done. So you should always have toothpicks in your kitchen. See how this gets all hard and crumbly looking? That's what makes it streusel. So after I see y'all next, we should be looking at a finely done tin of amazing blueberry muffins that will make people think you love them extra. So I'll see y'all here in about 25 minutes. And I love how y'all give me feedback all the time on how I could be a better set. So this is the before they go in the oven. And then next you'll get to see after. All right, so you know how I told you before that these could be a wonderful treat when somebody comes and also a treat when somebody leaves? It reminded me that my friend Gloria sent me these fantastic tea towels. This one says, Dear Karma, I have a list of people you missed, and I've got a list. And by the way, we did read all the names on here. Mine don't match exactly. And then she also sent me this fun one that says, wash your hands and say your prayers because Jesus and germs are everywhere. And I don't know why washing your hands is unique to coronavirus time. But anyway, check this out, y'all. This is ridiculous. I kind of feel like a genius for making these muffins. Every time I make something like this, I feel magical. You too can be magical with a few ingredients, a little bit of love and a little bit of afternoon. So anyway, subscribe for more. Give me some love in the comments if you want a Dixie Crystals coupon. I still got a couple left. And I'll see you next time.